So, everybody, welcome. Good Sunday morning. This is John and Rachel, the YaJagoff podcast, and you're used to seeing the behind the scenes. And we have a special thing going on here at Primanti's in Allison Park. Is that what we say, or do we say
Allison Park?
All right, cool.
There might be some local slang as well.
I like it.
We say Route 8 because
Route 8.
we're sort of, we're the Ross Townshipians where we could go to any of them, so we say Route 8.
Right.
Because we're within a few minutes.
Because Ross Township is officially slighted, which we'll attack Jim about later. But anyways.
Yes, we are slighted.
This is the YaJagoff podcast, and we are at a Primanti's for a special reason you'll hear in a little bit. If you're watching this, know that you can get the edited version of the podcast on Tuesday. Well, Monday if you're on the Odyssey app as a subscriber.
Yeah, for KDK, because people like to get it a little early. So we're happy that we can make that happen. But you're not going to see all of the show notes and all the fun things until you subscribe to YaJagoff.com so that you can get it from us as well.
Right. So you're going to see us read our ad. You're going to see you're going to see the guests go in and out. But again, if you kind of want to listen to the clean version, that's Monday or Tuesday. We ready?
I'm ready.
All right, cool. Summer 2021 is driving people to events and happenings, and Rorick Honda is part of that drive. From parking lot shows and hosting comedy acts to a collab with Mancini's,
Rorick knows the importance of community fun. Congratulate them on a record month in May and browse their inventory in Bloomfield. As always, visit Rorick.com for all of your vehicle needs.
And now we start this week's YaJagoff podcast from hallowed halls.
Oh my
at
God,
Primanti's.
John's favorite place.
All right, so this is where you'll hear some music if you're listening to the podcast. And now we start. So we are at Primanti's in Allison Park, Glenshaw, Route 8, and all those things. And
North.
Right.
North and Ad.
But I would say don't come try to find us while you're watching this to think you're going to get a free sandwich, because we're probably gone by the time you get here. But we have an interesting podcast this week because we're simul-recording a podcast.
Yeah, simul. We sound really smart just by saying simul. So the cool part, we always have a story behind how these things happen, but John is a beer drinker. Rachel is not, but I'm like learning, right? I feel like you, my husband, the people we surround ourselves with, I'm learning how to do this. Right. So we were actually asked to be on the Fueled by Hops podcast. Like, how cool is that?
And what do we know about beer, Rach?
You knew more than I did. Well, we actually
I know
consult
it
with
good when it's cold.
Yeah. But we consult with our North Country Brewing people.
Yeah.
But we do have a funny Primanti's story about when you and I went to Primanti's and what we ordered as far as beer.
Yeah,
so we'll have to tell that story, which is pretty funny. But anyway, so we were super excited that we could be on their podcast. They would be on our podcast. We already had some really good guests scheduled. So we were like, let's just mesh it all and have a really cool Sunday.
And have a Primanti sandwich in the meantime. Yeah. So as you're watching this, we're going to have food in our mouths, right? So, Ryan from Fueled by Hops, welcome to the YaJagoff podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Tell us, first of all, get into the story about your Fueled by Hops. You guys have like a mega Fueled by Hops kingdom happening.
I guess you can call it a mega Fueled by Hops kingdom. That's a good way to put it. We started as a craft beer community on Facebook, and from there it just kind of blew up. So we started locally here in Pittsburgh. We wanted to bring all of the Pittsburgh craft beer drinkers together. And really just share what we're doing, what we're drinking, and where we're drinking it, and all that good stuff. And it grew into a blog. It grew into a podcast. It eventually, Scott, my co-host, jumped on board. We've recently just launched in 2 new cities. So we're in Colorado. Houston's coming up pretty soon.
Please say it as the Pittsburgh version, Colorado. If you're talking about mom, it's Colorado.
But no, we have a whole merch line. As things grew and as people came together and things kind of progressed, we just decided, let's see where this thing can go.
And what a testament to Pittsburgh, because, we often talk on the podcast as we hear the Pittsburgh stories that we get to hear. Pittsburgh started as a coal town, right?
Yes.
And so for any of us who have been here to see it literally transform, we're a foodie town now. I mean, Primanti's is clearly, has put us on the map. We're a tech town. We're a health town. Now, all of these beer meccas are popping up everywhere. I mean, is it literally what has sort of, no pun intended, fueled you? It's what fueled you.
But, when we talk about the best beer cities in America, Pittsburgh is always in the top 5. And in my opinion, it's the number 1 best beer city in America. But what we're seeing happen right now is really, really special in craft beer. And it's almost like a reversion. Back in the day, every neighborhood in Pittsburgh had a brewery, right?
Yes.
That's how you got your beer. Now, here we are again, 100 years later. Every neighborhood in Pittsburgh has 2 or 3 breweries.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of cool stuff happen. We're seeing a lot of people come to Pittsburgh as a beer destination. We're seeing people in Pittsburgh really kind of come into craft beer and support it. So, we just kind of built a concept around that.
Okay.
Ryan, as you look
Wow.
around here, our little wires on the table and everything, for you, if you're listening, is your podcast this professional looking? Ours looks like just black pasta just laying all
We
over
use
the
the same
table.
setup.
here.
It's literally the same setup.
Yeah, he said.
We're just not as organized. We don't have all the tape.
How about you guys were organized? That was the coolest part.
We said, wait,
Yeah.
he was organized. So
Sure.
let's hold that thought about Fueled by Hops. Let's go to our first guest because Jim is the guy here. Jim is the guy at Primanti's. We came up with this YaJagoff beer, which is why you called us. We'll talk about that in a second. But we sent an email to Ryan, and Jim's like, what is the YaJagoff beer? And we want this YaJagoff beer. So, Jim, first of all, welcome to the YaJagoff podcast.
No, first of all, thank you for having us. I mean,
Yeah, that's a good
I'm not
point.
kidding you. My boys, any excuse to go to Primanti's, but John is literally like, we might be driving past, but we're like 82 minutes away from a Primanti's, and he thinks we're driving past just so we could go there. So thank you for having us.
Thanks for
We
coming
appreciate
out.
it.
We really appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
Well, listen, so we won't bitch at first, but we'll bitch at first right now. It's like, listen, we work out of Rachel's house in Ross Township.
Okay.
And it's Primanti's in the strip. It's Primanti. You just kind of have to roll a coin, come up here. We need a Primanti's on McKnight Road somewhere along the way.
That has been.
I need a fix. Like I'm out on the corner, like
some
you
time
know.
Now.
Yeah.
McKnight has always been a location we've been looking for. So there might be that right spot
Okay.
here soon.
Okay.
Once we get past all of everything that's been going on for the past year, it's
Yeah.
time to start growing again.
Yeah. I mean, we'll even take like a Babcock, maybe even like a 3 Degree Road, something like that, because
Yeah.
it's still close enough. But listen, everybody wants a Primanti's. Like, they just sit there and say, well, I need it in my neighborhood, because we want instant gratification. As we talked offline, we could talk about the evolution of Primanti's, what people love, for hours.
Right.
But what I love most is that it's the milestone place. I described to you that when people say they're winning the Super Bowl, why are you going? Where are you going? Disney World. Primanti's is sort of that thing, regardless of whether it's a holiday or a milestone. What is the appeal?
Well, we're super grateful that we have that appeal. For
Yeah.
one, it's almost like a rite of passage for every new Pittsburgher to come through to have a sandwich with French fries, coleslaw, and tomato on it.
Yeah.
So, for us, it's super fun from, getting support from the Steelers to the Pirates,
Sure.
Pitt, all the way across the board. It's a rite of passage to become a Pittsburgher. You have to have a sandwich. And you can have it, with capicola. You can have it with steak, with fish, anything that anybody likes, really.
That's Ryan. What was your first Primanti's sandwich? Do you remember it?
I don't remember my first one, but I always order the same thing every time I come here, so it was probably that, and that's the Pittsburgher.
Yeah,
The
that's
steak.
what my
You
husband
gotta go.
does.
It's a tried and true.
When
So-
you guys look at, go ahead, Jim.
So it's nice when someone may not remember their first one because it could have been at about 2 a.m. in the street. So that's another.
I mean, I've had
part
quite a
too.
few of those.
I
The south
actually-
side, mainly.
You know what? I actually do remember my first one. Do you mind if I indulge?
No. Who didn't know?
Right. So I was a very picky eater growing up, even into high school, very picky eater. I went to take the city paramedic written exam in Oakland, and all the guys we were at some place in Pitt, and everybody that was there at lunch break, they're going, we're going down to Primanti's. You going? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, he's picky, so.
And I go down, so I'm like, oh, God. And then I had the salami. Like, nobody can ever fail me with salami. I
Yeah.
just salami. It was love ever since. It was
So my
like,
first sandwich was in Oakland as well with my father. I think I was about 10 years old. It was a cap and egg with no tomato at the time.
Wow.
I was only scared of tomatoes.
Sure,
that's
sure.
it. But I got over that fear, but that was my first in Oakland as well.
That's so cool. And I was saying to you offline, and Ryan, feel free to jump in on the milestone part, but from a mom's perspective, I can't believe how many women, right? Because you don't know the demographic. You figure it's a sloppy sandwich. Do ladies want to really go? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
mean, the
love it.
answer
They
is
love
yes.
it.
Mother's Day is one of the biggest, times to come here, right?
Yeah, Mother's Day has been great for us over the years. We do give moms free sandwiches on Mother's Day.
There you
so
go.
That's
There you
it.
go.
helps with it. Free always works, but we want to try to create a nice atmosphere for everybody.
Sure.
So you feel comfortable here. So it's it's your neighborhood place, just like you're saying with the breweries. That's the appeal that we would like to have
Sure.
too. So
I just want to know, Primanti's corporate, how mad were you guys that the Jagoff, Ben Affleck, when he butchered the name Primanti's in that movie?
Oh, that's a
I
great
can't remember
question.
how he said it.
Yes.
It was like
Primanti's maybe.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
some weird saying.
It
And I was like,
happens.
oh,
That's
what
a
jack.
good question.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
happens sometimes, in Pittsburgh, we seem to roll everything together. So it's like Primanti's. You even try to type it into your phone, and it won't spell out Primanti.
Oh, right, yeah.
It gets a little phonetically
That's so
incorrect
funny.
at times. So, we're okay with it as long as they're talking about us.
That's
Still a
right.
Jag.
And are you a Jagoff if you don't get French fries on it? Come on.
I mean, I think French fries you got to go for, right?
I know a lot of good people that get the fries on the side.
Okay.
So I think the slaw. The slaw is, to me, if you don't get the slaw, you're a
Oh,
jag.
okay, that's
I agree.
just me.
I'm
I
usually
agree.
an extra slaw kind of guy, even though some on the side.
Ooh, I didn't
just
know you
for
could
the
do
crunch.
that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
could do that?
Extra slaw for sure.
Wow,
Learn
that
something new
seems
every
like
day.
it's going down your elbows if you get extra slaw.
That's the best.
Well, right, and then for the people who want somewhat of a healthy aspect, I'm like, the turkey, that's really gonna make a difference,
That's great.
right?
A little less fat content
I
through
guess.
the turkey. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if in the end it really is.
I
but-
do have to admit one thing, though. When I was younger and I was in college, I was super poor. I used to steal the hot sauce from Primanti's.
Hot sauce always disappear.
my
we got
God.
extra bottles in the back
Oh.
just for that
Do
situation.
you feel better that you said it?
I feel so much better. I got that off my
Yeah,
chest.
this is
I'm like pushing 40, about to be a father. It's like, oh, thank God.
You don't see the Red Trappy's Red Devil hot sauce very many
Oh,
places.
it used to. I had like 15 in my house.
Oh,
I did the same
so
thing with Chipotle.
funny.
Sorry, Chipotle.
That is so funny. I
Oh,
love
that is funny.
So going back to beer, though, and again, I want educated because I appreciate that this has become a thing. Not only a thing, but an identifying thing in our city, right?
Sure.
And so we were one time known for Iron City beer. That's it. And now, like you said, there's these microbrews. There's all these eclectic places that are popping up. When wine was sort of doing that, there was the big question, what do you pair with it? Is beer that thing where you literally can have a conversation for hours where you talk about the hops or
Oh my
an
gosh.
IPA would be paired with? And why is that?
We do it every weekend.
Right.
I mean, beer is so complex when you think about it. The hops, there's bittering hops, and there's hops that just produce the flavor. I mean, there's so many different elements. The grain bills. I mean, it's almost like a puzzle, if you will. There's so many different complexities
Sure.
inside of there. You can sit there and dissect a beer for days if you wanted to.
Right.
And
Right.
we do it every weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I get
Well, wait,
completely
without running
Go
out
ahead.
of content, essentially, right? Because you can literally, as you said, dissect it,
Yep.
peel it back. Because what does it pair with food? What does it pair with dessert?
I think beer pairs better with food than wine. 'Cause
Yeah.
beer
Oh, I
essentially is
agree.
food. There's a lot
Yeah.
of the same ingredients
Sure.
inside of there.
Oh,
So,
yeah, right.
in a lot of ways they come together. So yeah, beer. It's just you can never run out of content.
Ongoing conversation.
But I get
yeah.
so confused with Hefeweizen and IPA and India. I don't.
IPA, yeah.
I don't. I like beer. Now the cool thing is that when the North Country Brewing Gang put YaJagoff beer, it was a light lager. I'm like all in.
Simple,
That's-
easy,
yeah,
yeah.
so simple to remember.
Actually,
right?
lager is extremely hard to make. It's a lot harder to make a lager than it is to make an IPA. I don't know if you knew that.
No,
Is that why you see
actually.
more IPAs out there.
Yeah, IPA. Well, I mean, I'm not a brewer, so I don't want to sound like I know this, but from what I understand, and May could probably shine some light on this more. IPAs are the hot seller.
Right.
That's where you make your money. That's what keeps people coming back. Lager, not necessarily, but it is a more complex product to make.
Whoa. Yikes. We have a lager.
Yeah.
I mean,
Don't
psych.
worry.
No. Just talking trends in the market, but the trend is actually moving back towards lager. So I wanted to throw that point.
Yeah,
out.
You're
all right,
fine.
all
The
right.
number one seller in America.
There
No
you
one
go.
like
Look at
us, no
Jim.
top
Look
seller.
at Jim.
But for purposes of this podcast,
Yeah.
we have to talk in Fueled by Hops, Yinzies,
Yes.
Yeah.
and lagers are now referred to as Crispy Boys.
Oh.
Crispy
They are
boys.
crispy boys.
So we have to refer to it as the Crispy Boy.
Okay.
Really? Okay.
We'll have to get Meg on that.
No,
Yes.
but in all seriousness, when we were even deciding, just to throw, this is all I can talk about because I don't know enough, but when we were talking to North Country Brewing about our beer, we said, I don't want to pigeonhole women, but women don't always love beer, or we like a light beer, right? So we were like, we have that demographic, but then you have true yinzers who are going to say, well, I want something that tastes like an iron,
Yeah.
right? Or you have people, like you said, like my husband, who love IPAs. How do we decide what we brew? And so we put a poll out, and to be honest with you, the lager won, I think, for safety. Like you said, it's
Yeah.
sort of that, what we know.
It tastes like beer.
Yes.
It
yes.
tastes like
Right.
beer.
I don't
what
want my
we
beer
know.
to taste like a fruit. It's citrus. I'm not into the citrusy
Ooh,
thing.
I
I
love
can't
that.
handle that.
Yeah, I'm not either.
And the sour beer. I'm 90. My beer taste is 90 years old.
I will say every brewer I've ever met wants to make more lager.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very complex thing. When they make a good one, it's almost like a pride thing. It's just the IPAs are what's dominating the market right now. But that trend, like I said, is reversing.
Sure.
And more people are saying, we want Krispies. We want Krispies.
Yeah.
Crispy.
It's pretty cool.
In a
though.
few years, you'll see.
We have to let Jim go because we have to bring Megan. But Jim, we have a big announcement this week, right?
do.
Because now, when the radio stations with the DJs, they go, in 10 minutes, we're going to give away tickets to Justin Timberlake. And then people start calling like right now. They go, no, I said 10 minutes. So pay attention here because we're going to say that there's a date when something's available, but don't go right now.
Don't go yet, because we want to have it for you when you come in.
Right.
But you're more than welcome to come in before.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have plenty
Right,
of
just
other
don't-
delicious sandwiches and drinks you
Right.
can have.
So what's happening here at Primanti?
So in the coming weeks, on the 18th, we're going to release a YaJagoff beer through Primanti Brothers. It was brewed by North Country. It's an American light lager. We're super excited for it. It's going to be coming out the 18th, which is the Friday before Father's Day weekend. We're looking forward to also giving away free sandwiches to Dad on that weekend as well. That's Sunday for Father's
Boom.
Day. So you can come to Primanti's, Dad's. You can get your free sandwich, and you can have a YaJagoff in-house, or you can take a six-pack to go out-of-house.
And in case you're not familiar with it, it has a parking chair on the label of it. So it's
so good.
It's a real parking chair. It came out of my garage.
We carry it with us regularly.
We do, yeah.
No, and nothing is better than that because our story that we'll share with you is we were leaving a hockey game from one of my kids. My husband was at another hockey game. John and I went to the Route 60 podcast, or Route 60 Primanti's, I believe. And they said, what are you having? And I said, well, I'm at Primanti's, I'll have a beer.
Right.
My go-to is a Guinness, just admittedly,
Perfect.
right?
Yeah.
Because I'm Irish. So I said, I'll have a Guinness, 16 ounce.
Yeah.
And you had a
12, the small.
Miller
Light
Lite 12 ounce.
Light beer.
Yeah.
So the woman comes out, different server now, and says, here you go. And she crosses, he gets the Guinness. He was like, oh my God, like they think I'm a little dude drinking little beers. And it was so funny because now here we are.
And the funny thing about Guinness, it's actually a very light beer. It's
It is light.
less calories than
Yeah.
Miller Lite.
Boom.
It's just that roasting of the malts that create that dark color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I always order a small beer because I hate for it to get warm.
Yeah.
So
Gotta be
like,
ice cold.
Yes.
it has to
Yes.
be cold.
Yeah.
So
question of the day.
Yes.
First, Jim, thank you so much. Where does everybody find Primanti's online? Where do they follow? All that good stuff for deals, promotions.
We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and it's at Primanti Bros. We're also, you can order online at order.PrimantiBros.com, and then just PrimantiBros.com for everything you need from gift cards, merchandise, all location information.
Easy enough. Anything else coming up other than the YaJagoff beer?
Everything's always coming
Summer,
up.
right?
We're ready for everybody to come back. Our
Yeah.
patios are open, half-price happy hour nearly every day of the week, twice on Fridays typically at 5 to 7 and at 9 to 11. And, all drinks, and including North Country beers, are half price during
There you
happy
go.
hour. So, we're super happy to just have everyone coming back out for the restaurants this summer.
dude,
Same.
I lick my lips every time I drive by one. So yeah,
He's not
I
kidding.
Just, yeah,
He's not
I
kidding.
really
All right,
do.
question of the day. This is the coveted part. It's going to get a little... You thought this was easy. Now it gets tough. What is worse, no fries on sandwiches or a chronic beer spiller?
Oh, my gosh. If you're going to spill a beer, then there's going to be some extra cleanup. I think we can handle fries on
Okay.
the side of your
That
sandwich.
is surprising.
But the
Yeah.
chronic spiller, I don't know if we want a chronic spiller. We
Okay.
want to keep it in the vessel.
Nice.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
Should we hold off on Ryan's?
Yeah, because
cool.
Ryan's staying with us,
All
right?
right,
Yeah.
you're not
on.
answering
That's
yet.
right.
That means you have time to
We
think.
can't thank you enough for working with us on
thank
this.
you.
We are so excited to just get crazy with with the beer. Yeah,
We're very excited, and we've been talking about this for a couple months now, so we're ready for it. So
We're
Yeah,
ready.
we're excited.
Let's go.
All right,
Woo!
thank you, Jim. We really appreciate it.
Thank
you
you.
so much. Cool. All right, and so Ryan, let's talk to you a little bit because Fueled by Hops is all about beer, and as we said earlier, we know nothing about beer, right? We know nothing. So we played a game. It wasn't quite a drinking game at North Country Brewing. We said, hey, we should have a YaJagoff beer. And they go, yeah, you should. And then we sat around and tasted some beers. And they're like, well, let's do this. And we actually went to the point where we thought we were going to make a strawberry jello pretzel salad beer.
Yikes.
And John was there,
was
like,
so excited
I
for
could
the
do that.
opportunity.
And we're like, wait, we probably want to sell beer versus being quirky. So that's when these guys stepped in. So this is all you, bud, because Meg is the brewer of the YaJagoff.
She knows
beer.
way more about beer than any of us here.
Right.
So I'm just going to throw that one out there.
So Meg is from
That's a
North
lot of
Country
pressure
Brewing.
right now.
Meg, welcome to the. You're back to the YaJagoff podcast
Yeah.
because we had you on one other time
I know,
underneath
we were
the bridge.
talking about another Jagoff beer. Up
Yes.
Jagoff. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How about that? And he had to remind me that we were at the Burger Bash, and you were at Rock Bottom at the time, and you were talking about a different Jagoff beer that's totally different flavor, like we said, between the
Right.
lager and the IPA. Talk to us a little bit about how you know your audience well enough to know what works, because you seriously do know, hey, this might not be what's best for who's purchasing our beer.
I mean, I think it can become very subjective for the brewery and like maybe where your location is and whatnot, and a lot of it becomes like for a while responding to what you're seeing coming back. You're like, where are our sales going? But also, I think what's unique with North Country is that we not only have our pub setting, but we also do a lot of distribution, and I think what I've noticed is that those audiences are also different. So when we're approaching like creating a new beer, we're not only asking the question like, will this work at our pub with like how our
a good
lineup
point.
works,
Yeah.
and will it also be sellable like out to like other craft beer consumers in the market? And those are just totally two different conversations, but we have to think about it. Sometimes it's a trial and error. We're like, this is going to work in our pub, and then it doesn't work in distro, so now we have to adjust. The other awesome thing about North Country is that we do have the pub, and we do have a brew house at Harmony, so we have the opportunity to try things out, like smaller scales, and see if it works in-house first, and we like it, and we can test out the recipe, and then from there, scale up,
That's a
which
good
is really
point.
cool.
Go, Ryan.
Okay, yeah, I'll just jump in right here.
Do it.
Yeah.
So I guess I should welcome you back to our podcast
I know.
because we're like you're
I'm
like
not late this time, though. Scotcher's late this time.
yeah, Scott's late this time. That's right, you were late that time.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Scott will be here shortly, people. So if you hear Scott's voice poking in here in a few minutes, just know he was just running late. So
Yeah.
no, but welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
But I want to talk a little bit. Should we talk about the beer?
Good.
Where should we start? I mean,
Yeah,
this
sure.
is
Do it.
Okay, we're just going
Do
to
it.
dive
Yeah.
right
Test
in
your
here.
skills,
Yeah.
Ryan. You tell us, where do we start?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about, because I just introduced them to the term crispy boy.
Yeah.
Crispy boy.
So
Are y'all crispy boys?
I think we get it. Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you like crispy boys?
Yeah.
Cool.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
am I able to officially say that lagers are crispy boys?
Yeah, absolutely. YaJag, this is my spot, is a crispy boy, for
Yes,
sure.
absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about the YaJagoff lager, because I just kind of fouled up and told them that lagers don't sell as well as IPAs. And I think they're a
And
little
I
mad at me
pounced,
right
Meg.
now.
I
It
pounced.
breaks my heart slightly.
But the trend is changing, right? The trend is
Slowly.
changing.
I mean, we're definitely seeing it a little bit more out in Philly, and I think it's slowly coming over here, and people are starting to appreciate it. And I think the more people brew them, like especially like people like Dancing Gnome, Grist House, I'm seeing some stuff come out from them. I think we're going to see that trend come a little bit back.
Yeah, and what I was telling them, and you could kind of elaborate a little bit more, because I'm not a brewer, so I have no idea how to make beer. But I know how to talk about beer, I just don't know how to make it. So the lager is an extremely challenging beer to produce, and
Yeah,
it takes a long
absolutely.
time, right?
Yeah, and also there's a very small margin for error because it's such a delicate beer that if there's a flaw in any way, shape, or form, like if you don't have your water profile on point, if you don't hop it properly, if you don't actually lager it properly, those things will be able to be tasted in that final product. So you just can't hide behind anything. So I feel like it's a cool challenge, especially for us that we haven't really brewed that many lagers, but our team loves brewing traditional styles, and we're trying to slowly interject them. So when we had the opportunity to work with these two, I think it was just a really cool way to like test the waters and see what we can do on our brew house.
Yeah, and I think people should really appreciate that. When people sit down at a bar, especially when they come to Primanti's and they sit down, they drink the YaJagoff beer, you just see, okay, lager, we got to drink it, it tastes good. But I want to kind of dive in a little bit and talk about, okay, this beer was extremely complex. It took a long time to make.
Right.
This isn't just your dad's beer. I mean, this is a craft lager. There was a lot of delicate time, planning, equipment, all that
Yeah.
good stuff. So lead us in. How long does it take from start to finish to make a lager? Specifically this lager.
That's actually a really good question. Because Patrick kept telling us, Rachel, we need time for it to lager.
Yes.
And we did not know what that meant. So is that where you're headed, Ryan?
Yeah, I want to give people a background to the beer. Like, let's show them what goes into this beer.
Absolutely. So we have a standard when we're looking at a lager of 6 weeks at a minimum. And then based on what actual type of lager we're doing, we'll alter that. So that can be adjusted by the alcohol that we're trying, like the final alcohol we're trying to get, and like also the complexity of the beer too. Mm-hmm. So, so this beer specifically, we go from start to finish in 6 weeks. That's from brew house to package in 6 weeks. And, so the lagering, I don't know if you guys did talk about lagering at all.
No. It was just Patrick kept saying, because when Jim was saying we would like to have the beer for Father's Day weekend, he's like, well, we need a time to lager. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't think, like, to your point, the common person doesn't understand. We'll just make the beer.
Yeah.
Right.
They just think it's just a beer.
And they see it being something that's not very complex, so they think it's just very easy.
It goes in real easy.
Yeah, it goes in really easy.
But there's a science in the weight, right?
Yeah.
Patience.
Patience. That's the science, is patience. So lagering pretty much means aging. So if anyone ever says that word, that means we're aging it. So so what happens when you're brewing, you have your fermentation period, which for a lager could last up to like 2 weeks or so. And basically the yeast is eating all the sugars. It's developing the flavor profile. It's cleaning up the beer so that there's no off flavor. So the yeast does a lot of work. So we do some of the work. The yeast does all of the work.
Okay.
Yeast makes beer. That's what a lot of people tell me.
I'm a slave to yeast generally. That's how I roll.
I love that.
So then once we're done with this fermentation process, which is just, again, a piece of it, we want to let it age. And that's where some of these, what we call green flavors, will start to turn into more of what you taste in the final product. But it takes time, and it takes, like, tasting the beer along the way. And, like, just to make a point, when I am introducing someone to brewing, if I have a new brewer, I ask them to taste it along the way so they can actually develop that palate to understand what something tastes when we call it green and what something tastes like when it's finished. So 2 weeks probably just for fermentation. 4, though, just to let it fine-tune. It's the fine-tuning period.
And when you're fine-tuning, do you dip into it? Do you have to, like,
is it just sitting?
It's not like a crock pot. You're not allowed to open it up. I mean, what or you drain some out?
Process,
that's a good question. That's a really good question.
Yeah,
Ryan, thank you very much. That's our competition. That's our competition.
Remember when we were tight?
Week.
Never. Go ahead.
Yeah, so with the brewing process, we kind of break it apart between, like, the hot side and the cold side.
Yeah.
So the hot side, there's a little bit of room for if something isn't like 110% sanitary, everything's getting boiled. So, we're not freaking out as much. But once it hits that fermenter, everything locked down. You need to wear gloves. And even actually, COVID kind of was like, if I were working with yeast at all, it's like, wear that mask. You don't want to breathe on anything. So once it's buttoned down, you're not going to open it up. However, most of the fermenters, which is the vessels that we make the beer in, they will have like a sample port called a Zwickel, and you can pull off a sample. You'll check the gravity along the way, which allows us to know how much sugar is left in that beer, and it allows us to know when it's actually done fermenting.
How cool is that?
How about John gets the question of the day right there, right?
I thought we were moving beyond.
I've actually heard of breweries. This is like true story. I mean, I've heard of breweries putting their lagering equipment in separate buildings than the rest of their equipment. I think Insurrection actually operates that way. It used to.
I wonder
just
if
to keep it all separate.
Like, because they do stuff that's a little bit more mixed firm, though. But I mean,
I'm not sure. I'm not 100. Like I said, I'm not a brewer.
You're good at drinking.
I'm drinking it. Whatever.
Right.
I have a 4-pack in my car.
We're just podcasters here, right? We're not brewers either, but we have a beer.
Yeah, right. Well, the other unique thing about like brewing lagers, our brewery isn't set up this way, but other breweries that primarily do lagers, they'll do their initial fermentation in one vessel, and then they'll go into a separate tank. So all of our tanks that you saw at our brewery are up and down, there, and what they'll put them in is these horizontal tanks.
Ooh, yeah.
To ferment, to finish out and do the fine tuning and whatnot. So we have more surface area for any residual yeast to do that. Sometimes they'll allow like this period to do like a natural carbonation. So I'll throw this little nugget in there. So a lot of like really traditional lagers, they're not necessarily injecting carbonation into the beer, but they want it to naturally carbonate. So some breweries will either let the beer finish out and keep it capped, or they'll add young wort into that horizontal tank, and they'll allow this, what's called kreuzening, to kind of re-ferment the product and create natural carbonation that way as well. So interesting.
And I hate when people are so smart on our podcast and make me feel
But
stupid.
it's educating to us. Go ahead, Ryan. I'm
But
sorry.
no, Meg, so just, I'm going to break this down. This is really, really important to know. And correct me if I'm wrong. But, see, there's L yeast and then there's lager yeast. There's two different kinds.
Okay.
One ferments on the top, which would be lager, right?
No, ale.
L's on the top. And then
Meg, give them an
lager. Yes.
Yeah.
I think
There's a
about
bottom- there's a
lagering
bottom
yeast as
fermented
like
yeast.
cave dwellers. Like they just want to hide at the bottom of the tank. And
Okay.
They just want to like hide away. Like they're cold. They're saying that's what I think about
So
it.
with lagering, you use horizontal tanks because it's not as tall, right? Because the yeast is doing all its work on the bottom.
okay.
So you use
that's the way it's falling.
right.
Well, it's all about the surface area.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so even like in general fermentation design, like for the tanks that you get, some of them will be wider so that you'll still get that surface area and ferment differently. Like the shape and size of your tank can affect how your product comes out as well.
We love us some Patrick, but this was more educational.
Right, Patrick.
Just
Who?
say it.
That's what I said.
Patrick.
She knows way
Patrick
more
is
about beer than
the
any of
party.
us. Let's pick her
I'm
brain.
a nerd.
Here's the thing. Here's the
Patrick's the party.
Here are these statistics that we know, Meg. The beer that you made on behalf of us, it was gone. The keg was kicked in 2.5 hours at the
That's what I like to
Bronzewood
hear.
in Robinson Township.
And Patrick's
Can't beat
answer was, when did they tap it? We were like, we just told you 2.5 hours
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Like, it was awesome.
It was gone in a day and
They
a
love
half at Bobby D's.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it is.
Ryan, we can't wait for you to try it.
Yeah,
I can't wait to try it.
Yeah.
I'm
fabulous.
drinking a
Kinda
North Country right now.
interesting that we went from the initial batch was just a 15-barrel batch because we're like, again, we want to test the water to see how this goes. And it instantly, through other conversations, Bob actually came to me. He's like, Megan, I think we need to actually brew 60 barrels of this. And I'm like, whoa. Like,
Hello?
really? Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
That's a
let's,
lot of
let's
beer.
do it.
Yeah.
It is a
Well,
lot.
60
of
not
barrels
to,
is a huge amount of
release
beer.
any secrets, but Bob
Wait,
sat there and told us we need to have the Jagoff beer on draft at PNC Park for the rest of the Pirate season.
And we're like, okay, Bob.
what? Yeah. We're like,
Yeah.
yeah, we like Bob.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the pressure is on.
Right.
We're like, every
Right.
restaurant we've ever worked with, we're like, hey, have you heard of the YaJagoff Beer?
Yeah.
Because you got to sell it.
You got to. Well, Meg,
gotta
this
remember
is
that.
awesome that you came on, and
thanks for
and
having
Ryan,
me.
this is your bailiwick, and we're glad you saved us on the conversation.
I
That was
just-
we like. So, Meg, what's
if
up?
you have the opportunity to dive in, and,
Yeah.
and the person sitting
You have
right
to
here
do
that
it.
can really
Yeah, do
educate
it.
you, do it. Take
Exactly.
the
Just
opportunity.
do it.
So
Yeah.
when
We
you
have
come
a-
and you drink this beer, understand this was a tremendous amount of work that went into it.
Yeah.
That's a great point, because you're right. We're the consumers. All we know is there's a demand, and we want you to supply it. But when you understand, just like anything else, that there is such a process, I think it helps really digest it all.
That's
You can
awesome.
appreciate it a little bit.
Yeah,
exactly.
sure.
Absolutely.
Question of the day, Meg. Get ready, because Rachel's going to kill you with this. She drills people. So
Sweat beads are going to form on your forehead.
Ooh.
What is worse, Meg? No fries on sandwiches or a chronic beer spiller?
Like a person who's a chronic beer spiller.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
it's tough.
Why do you make these so complicated?
Yeah.
That's my Avril Lavigne quote. So,
At least she didn't say it was a better question than yours.
No, it was-
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go with a chronic beer spiller because then I don't have to hear people go, all the time.
So true. It is so true.
that's great.
That is
That was
such a
great.
good point.
Meg, that was good. That was awesome.
Meg, where does everybody find you in North Country Brewing?
Are you talking
Internet,
about,
social media?
Yeah. I'm at MetaMeg on Instagram. That's pretty much the main place to see my work going out. And follow us at North Country Brewing Company on all social media handles.
And if you've never been to the Cannery, you have
Go.
to go. The Cannery is the
Go.
best place to
yeah,
hang
it's
out.
still a hidden gem right now. Not everyone
Take
knows
your
that
dog.
It's there. Yeah,
Yeah,
take
take
your
your
dog.
cornhole
We have
bags.
an awesome outdoor area. It's very spacious.
Yeah.
So if you want to come up, go to Moraine and come over here and have some beer.
I love it. Yeah,
Awesome.
awesome. Meg
thanks
is
again for
awesome.
having me.
And
Yeah,
what,
thank you.
what's our music this week?
Oh, our music. They're here. They just aren't doing a live performance.
Right.
So it is Jordan and Zach. And they are an acoustic set. And they literally are just bring their guitar and kind of get up and go. They do everything from Alicia Keys to Maroon 5. Those are the covers that they like
So
to do.
when you're listening to the edited version of the podcast, do you guys, or you'll hear them. Do you guys have music on your podcast, Ryan? For those
You
who
do
aren't
now,
familiar,
Ryan.
Well,
you do
I
now.
mean,
you do know.
Typically, About 3/4 of the way through is when Scott gets really hammered. So it's almost kind of music because he's slurring his speech and everything else. So you could say that.
That's a good answer.
All right, so you're listening to the music of our band, and Emily's coming on in here.
Just in time for you to eat,
Emily,
right?
yeah, right. All right, we waited for you. You could bring your sandwich over.
bring
You
your
can
sandwich.
eat.
Bring
You can
your
eat while you're talking.
Yeah.
Do
Girl.
it. Do it.
That's how
Then
we
we'll
do
chew
it.
some
Fine.
gum.
It's fine.
We'll chew gum
Just
to get
don't
the
chew gum while you're eating.
taste out. Yeah. So we also have a Christmas in July thing coming up this July, and Ian's going to talk about that. But we love Christmas in July, and it's 90 degrees out right
I
now,
will
so
give
Christmas
you a
sounds
chance
really
to eat.
good.
You
Do
and
it.
Emily can talk because I'm going to tell Ryan a quick story.
All right.
So what we didn't talk to Meg about was how this even came to be, right? And the really cool part to the story is that we, like you, are always looking for unique places to podcast. So we have the advantage in the sense that yours is beer-oriented, ours is like Pittsburgh in general. And, Pittsburgh is sort of, as you know, with how you're expanding, Pittsburgh itself is just growing into all these different areas. So we were saying, we sort of mastered Allegheny County. Where can we go, in the surrounding counties? And we had clients actually in the Slippery Rock area, and we said, we should do something at North Country Brewing. But ironically, we knew Melinda Kalezai, who had just had a beer done for a huge the Women Who Rock event. She was, doing some fundraising, and the beer was helpful with that. So she said, you guys should go up there, and I'll hook you up with Patrick. We go, we do the podcast. This, like he said, the Cannery is amazing. You sit in this big, airy place, as you know, and you get to sample. Again, if you're not a beer drinker, you get to try all these different things to figure out what is your style. So we sampled, we talked, and then we got enough beer in them that they said, what about a beer? We were like, okay, a YaJagoff beer, that sounds great. Again, we know nothing about beer, but we drink it well, or we taste test it well.
Yep.
So it literally was so Pittsburgh and so organic in the sense that we were able to kind of just start a conversation and go from there.
And they're so, North Country Brewing is so philanthropic. They're just good community. They've been in business for over 10 years. You probably know this better, right?
Yeah, they've been in business for a while.
Is that right?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly how long, but they've been around for a good while.
What's been your favorite beer that they produce? Yeah, other than YaJagoff.
Man, that's a good question.
He said that's a good question again, right?
Yeah.
It's 2-0, John.
Oh yeah, 2-0. We should get a little scorekeeper in there. I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, they make so many good beers, and I'm drinking this one right now, which I think is the Red.
Firehouse, yeah.
Firehouse Red,
Yeah.
and it's very good.
Yeah. John and I tried a creamy ale, and I can't remember. I have to ask Meg what it's called. I think it's cream ale. So good. And it has a little bit more of a taste. Like we were talking before, I don't want a sour. I don't want a fruit. I would choose a different drink if that's what I wanted. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
the cream ale is pretty good.
Nice. So, Emily, now your mouth is full.
Now your
This
mouth
is
is
perfect.
full.
I need some Trek gum, man.
So,
Trek gum.
exactly. Emily Siegel? Siegel,
Yes.
I got it right. All right, cool. So, Ryan, Emily invented a gum.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
They were telling me about this, and I couldn't believe it. So I'm really interested in hearing
And
it.
look how she's 10. She's 10 years old, right?
She's a little older than 10.
So, me, I play hockey on Sundays. I come home. I'm ready to nap at around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and the John Delano thing comes on. And there's this young girl on there talking about how she invented gum. And she's here in Pittsburgh, chemist background.
chemical engineering, yeah.
And you turn around and you create the green gum because none of us realize that gum is made with plastic. So, Emily, welcome to the YaJagoff podcast and Fueled by Hops podcast.
Yes.
You didn't
Yes,
know.
thank you. Look at this. 2 for 1.
Right,
for
right.
one.
Yeah.
You're
You
the-
never know what you're signing
Yes,
up for.
you never know.
Right, yeah. With us, you never know. So just take us through that little bit of a background because our goal is we know how to ask questions to make let us eat.
Okay. I love it, yeah. So the story of Trek gum, wow. So I feel like there are a couple different avenues that kind of led me to working on this, and it all ended up happening at just the right time where it came together to become Trek gum. And one of the first avenues was I came to Pittsburgh. I thought I was going to be a doctor, and I wanted to, pursue medicine. Pitt had this great program. They had, they're surrounded by UPMC, and so I was like, I'm going to go here. And my junior year of college, I had an internship in the ER, which freaked me out. And then I sadly had a bunch of people that were kind of close to me pass away rapidly within that year. And I was like, I don't want a career where I'm thinking about death and sad stuff all the time. And so my senior year, I actually switched to chemical engineering. So it was just a random coincidence that that all happened my junior year to change my career path. And so,
Wow. I love that
like,
story.
Insane
I didn't
story.
read that.
Amazing.
Right.
Insane story. Yeah, it was sad, but like looking back on it now, I'm like, wow, like if that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have been where I'm at right now. And so it's cool seeing how that progressed.
And now those ER doctors are chewing your gum while performing any kind of services.
Right.
Right.
Thank God for them.
I think
it's just not my calling.
I think you need to
That's
make
so
it a
cool.
protocol
Yeah,
like
that's so cool.
those that sleep, the doctors that sleep at night, then they have to go see a patient. They should be required
There you go.
to chew
We'll
your
sell it
gum
for you.
before they go
There it
interact with the
is.
patients.
There it
No,
is.
but Emily, in
I
all
love it,
seriousness,
man.
I have a son who's actually going to college.
Yeah.
And even though my husband and I have said
Oh,
multiple
wait, hold on.
times-
You don't look old enough
That was
to have
good.
a son that's
That
going
was
to go to
good.
college.
I gave you a
1
second
point,
chance,
1 point.
Ryan. I gave you a second chance. He didn't say it earlier. So that was good.
Ryan, nice touch right there.
As he was selecting where he wanted to go, we go through the whole gyration of college. You're going to change your mind because it's so great that you're this anomaly and you think you know what you want to do,
Yep.
but you never know. So that's such a good point to our youth in general, that just because that's the path that you thought you were going to go, sometimes trial and error helps you figure out what you don't want to do.
Yeah, big errors, but
Yeah.
definitely. So I ended up doing chemical engineering. I did that my senior years when I started, and my parents, I mean, God bless them for not kicking my butt. I don't know if I can say butt on here, but thank God they didn't kick
It's all
my
good.
butt. And I took this product design class for the chemies, and in it we were allowed to pick an invention that we think would be useful for people. And since I was a little kid, I just love coming up with inventions. I used to have a book of just like inventions would come into my head, I'd write them down. One of those things was a gum that could clean teeth. Just because I wanted that as a kid. I was always the kid that my mom would always have to be like, did you brush your teeth today? Did you brush your teeth today? And I was always like, yeah. And so I just wanted something convenient for me as a little kid. So looking, through this booklet, I was like, that's the project that I would like to see if I could, use that for my class. So I did it. We got a B in the class, and there was a pitch competition at Pitt called the Randall Family Big Idea Competition, and I decided, I'm going to try this out, and I did it, and I won first place, and that, blew my mind, and I was like, oh, my God, people are interested in this could be a cool thing, and so I started pursuing it, but what it all comes down to is I learned that gum was plastic, right? And so over 95% of gum on the market today is just synthetic rubber and plastic. It was cheaper for, the big companies in the gum space to make. It didn't require plants and shipping.
And stop there. So did you literally do traditional research, like reading all of the ingredients in comparison to each other?
Yes.
Okay.
Hours and
so
hours,
you took
days
the time
and
to
days.
literally just go through each one and figure out, holy crap, this is made of plastic.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, and so if you look on your gum packaging, the sneaky companies, they can write gum base as usually one of the first or second ingredients. And what the FDA allows is this list of 60 plus ingredients that are very synthetic and just made in a lab, and they can put those in and just call it gum base. So
Wow.
the consumer doesn't see all of the crazy ingredients that are actually making up their gum. And so it's trash. As a young person, I'm just be transparent and tell people what's in there. It's gross. Let them know.
And without trying to be funny, are you now that person that looks at the big name, I won't mention what they are, but the big name gums and go, I can't believe I was chewing that.
Yeah, yep. To be honest, the people that I've given my gum to, they really like it, and they said that when they go back to chewing the plastic regular gum that's on the market today, they're like, I can't physically do it anymore. They're like, I can taste how fake it is. And so,
once you kind of bring it to light.
Yeah, and it's a learning curve. So many people don't know that gum is plastic. Almost,
I would
say
never have
90
known.
plus percent of people I
just
tell
learned
are
that today.
no way. And so the first thing they ask is, where can I get eco-friendly gum? And that's the perfect time for me to be like, well, hey, I'll be on the market soon, so sign up on the website, get pre-ordered, and make it happen.
Ryan, is there a future in Fueled by Gum podcast?
I was thinking, would it be cool if there was a hop gum? And then I was like, that's a terrible idea. Hops are so bitter. That would be horrific. It would crash and burn.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah,
maybe down the road we
maybe down the
put
road.
some hops and some gum.
To be honest, when I started that Chemi path line, my end goal was to do brewing. I thought I wanted to open a brewery on a boat and call it the
my
Beer
God.
Barge, and that was my
What in the hell?
Yeah.
The beer barge.
A
You
beer
just
barge.
got the greatest
idea.
guest
Thank you.
ever.
Thank you. Yeah, don't tell anyone, right?
You don't even have to brew.
Yeah.
Just make a brew pub.
Yeah, literally.
Just sell other
Hang
people's
out-
beer.
Hang out with Meg over there.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
right.
telling her about
Right.
it. So that
You
that
guys-
was my original goal until I started doing Trek Gum. And so that's still something in the back of my mind. I hope Trek Gum's wildly successful, and I would use whatever I got from that to, just live and hang on a boat.
So take us. So you finally get the gum. You figure out how to make it. Whatever.
Yeah. So that
How do you get it to market? How do you let people know? You just put up a website?
Right, so actually making the gum was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. No one teaches you in class, like, here's how you make gum. And it's not something you can just, like, go look at a recipe online, like, how do I make this? Like, it's all plastic. And so that took a lot of learning, and, like, I've learned there's so many different special machines that are used to even make gum. And I'm like, well, I'm making this in my kitchen. I don't have the machines for this. So then I spent between, I think, like 7 or 8 months trying to find a co-manufacturer that could help me and had the machines, because some of these machines are $100,000. I don't have that out of college. I'm just, sitting with
I don't have that now.
A little pot on the stove.
I'm 40 almost.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wait, you're supposed to say
You don't look 40.
I'm 37.
No, but yeah, so the manufacturing took a really long time. In fact, this week, actually, we're hoping to get our signature on the manufacturing agreement and to start working with this company we found. And they'll help us do some of the R&D. Yeah, it's been nuts. It's been a really crazy journey.
Well, and you are everything I was hoping you would be, because I said to John on the way here, and all, full disclosure, I write the show notes, which is basically like the journal. I, worked for the Tribune Review for years, so the journalist in me is like, go to the website, pull out the facts. Sometimes the website doesn't tell enough. Your website, bar none, was the easiest to help me. I literally was like, copy paste, because you have almost a timeline from 2019 to present on the award you won all the way up to the marketing process.
Yeah.
Talk to me, though. Trivialize it. Mm-hmm. How did you actually dissect? You were like, aha, this is plastic. It's disguised, but it's plastic. Mm-hmm. I can use this instead. Is that sort of how it went?
Yes. So what I learned in this process is, like, I studied the origin of gum. Like, where did that come from? What was originally used? And it originally was made, I mean, depending on which geographical location you were in the world, it was made with different things. But in South America, it was made with chicle, which is where, like, chiclet comes from. And it's a sap. It's extruded from a tree. They have I think they're called chicleros. I may be pronouncing that wrong.
Okay.
But they're these guys, they climb the trees, they make some hatches, and this gum extrudes from them. And so that's how gum used to be made. But I guess it was too expensive to be shipping that up to America all the time. And so, the big guys were like, we can make plastic feel the same exact way. And so, so I just by looking at how things were originally made, I think is how a lot of innovation is happening these days. We're going back to the roots and being like, plastic was not the right thing for us to be making these products with. Let's see what else we can use. And so what I learned then was there are a lot of companies in Europe that have been using the sap and making gum. They just weren't being sold in the U.S. And so from there, there are 2 main companies in the U.S. that are doing the plastic-free gum, so I'm happy for that. But we are just adding the functionality to it, so that's kind of our little niche in the market.
Okay.
So I love these 2 companies. I won't name them, but if you look at the natural gum on Google, you'll see who they are. But I love what they're doing. I'm inspired by it, and if I can, add some functionality, whether it be, our first gum is an oral care gum, but we have plans for additional lines down the road of, like, how we can be benefiting people's lives in an eco-friendly way.
Wow.
So
And the first gum you made was mint, right? Because you thought that was like everybody. Menthol. I almost said menthol like a cigarette.
Yeah,
we made meth gum. Yeah. No, mint menthol. I was thinking, fresh.
Yeah, she was like, not at all.
That's
not meth gum.
Please.
But
that's funny.
mint is where we started. What's interesting, so I learned that, the citrusy gums of the world, in order to get them tasting citrusy, you need citric acid in them or some type of acid. And if I'm making an oral care gum, it'd be really weird if I was putting in acid. So, you have to be careful what flavors will actually work for what kind of gum you want to make.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen,
Emily,
are you going to stay in Pittsburgh?
My goal is to. My parents don't want me to.
Where are
They're
you
like, come
from?
home.
Where are you from?
York, PA.
York.
Oh,
Okay. I have a
York.
roommate in
We're a
York.
little town.
wait, Utz's Pretzels, right?
Yeah, right.
Is that where-
Utz's Pretzels. One of my neighborhood friends growing up, they owned
really where it's
Martin's
from?
potato
Yeah.
chips. So, it's just a very quaint little town. Went to elementary school next to a cow field. Just, very different from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But I love it here. I think there's a booming startup scene that's really starting to form. More and more, VC funds are coming in, which is awesome, bringing more money to young startups. And I feel like, I don't know, other than a beach, Pittsburgh lacks nothing.
Go to Erie.
Go to Erie. It's 2 hours up the road.
True.
2 hours.
Yep.
That's all.
And you could stop at North Country on the way.
Go
You
swim
really
in the
can.
point.
You're really good at marketing.
Put your towel out on the fountain. That's fine.
That's true. Sure, you just close your eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll sprinkle sand on your towel.
You
No,
can
but-
literally do that in a fountain.
Just for people to understand, though, so where are you now? So that they understand, again, I encourage you, you'll tell everybody where to follow you. But I encourage people to look at the timeline to really understand. Think about perspective. From 2019, it's only 2021, and you're now like the entrepreneur.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
In my own head, I'm like, why is this taking me forever?
Oh,
and then I
no.
talk to somebody, and they're like, you met this person? And I'm like, yeah, but like it took me a long time.
In less
They're
than
like,
2
it's 2
years. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy.
So, like,
that's
I
phenomenal.
appreciate that perspective because when you're in it every day, I'm like, I'm not
Absolutely.
getting enough done. And then you step back and you're like, all right, this is almost ready to be sold. Like, let's do this.
I mean, and you're and him joking about you being young, but you are a young person doing great things.
I appreciate
and
that.
kind of checking so many boxes in our system. That's amazing.
How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 25.
Yeah.
25.
Wow.
I know.
You know what I was doing when I was 25?
Yes.
Please tell
I was
me.
definitely
Please tell me.
not making
Drinking beer.
Oh, my
I
God.
do that. I do that.
I was bartending.
When she was saying how she was taking notes as a young kid, I was coloring Batman coloring books. I don't, but yeah.
No,
it's
I
great.
love that because I did something similar. I kept a journal, and I was always saying like what
Look
I
at
wanted
Rachel
to do.
trying to step it up
Yeah.
on us.
No, but
Right.
it's true.
Whatever.
It's
Yeah,
true. Like,
it's a girl thing.
I remember, it has to be. It has to be. Like when I was young, I was like, wow, like not even that young, like middle school. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if they made grown-up shoes that had light up stuff in them? And then like they came out a couple of years ago, and I was like, that could have been me. And like even like
That is so funny.
I used to be like, oh, what if grocery stores could keep track of what you're purchasing instead of a cash register? And now that's what Amazon's new stuff is doing. And I'm just like, I wasn't born in the right time. And
I aspire to be in retail because that's
Yeah.
where it's booming.
Yeah.
And I created this flat thing. I'm horrible at science, but it was a flat, almost like a spatula that was long. It was a cardboard, and it had a handle, and it taught you how to fold your clothes appropriately so that you had the perfect crease. And
They
then
use
I
that.
go work retail, and they use the damn board.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I invented this.
Yep. So it's just right
Isn't it
place,
crazy?
right time.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm finding myself. I feel like I'm in a good place. You
Yeah.
never know what
You're
your
in a
favorite
great
is,
place.
but I'm feeling good. Tomorrow I pitch for money for the first time.
Whoa.
I'm raising my seed round,
What?
so that
What?
starts. It starts
Listen, when I was
tomorrow.
25 years old, my number one goal was I was literally training for this. I wanted to finish a Fathead's Head Witch and the chips. That was my goal.
That's an amazing goal, man. Don't be
I just
sad
wanted- I
about
just
it.
wanted to
Don't
finish.
break
That's
that. Be
hilarious.
proud of
I gained
that.
like 40 pounds.
Yeah.
this year.
That's amazing.
Where are you working out of right now so
Yeah.
that people have a perspective?
Currently, my apartment. and, Yes, I live in Bloomfield, and I was able to find a 2-bedroom that was the same price as a 1-bedroom, and I was like, oh my god, right here's the perfect office space. And then I moved in February, and then COVID happened in March, and I was like, thank God I had the 2nd bedroom, or I would have been making gum in my actual bedroom, and like that would have been weird. And so I'm working out of there, and then I was in the Alpha Lab Gear Accelerator
right.
program.
Yeah.
Alpha Lab.
But because of COVID, that we weren't allowed in there either. And so I think they're getting ready to start opening up, and then I'll move back in.
And actually, I didn't realize I was leading you to talk about the Alpha Lab.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you weren't actually physically there.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was so
So
was
thank God for
weird.
2-bedroom apartments in
Right?
Bloomfield.
Yeah, bless up. Yeah, thank you, landlord. Like,
What's up?
Shout
You
out
are
to
my
awesome.
hero. You're
Yeah.
20 years younger than me, and I aspire
Emily,
to be you.
you
That's
are
fabulous.
you are
that. You're
as
too kind.
fascinating
You're too
to
kind.
meet as I saw on the TV. So
Oh my
you
gosh.
are.
I love
So
you guys.
call all your friends and tell them to move to Pittsburgh,
I'm
and tell them
trying.
to listen to the YaJagoff podcast.
Yeah, no, that's it. Shout out to my mom and dad moved to Pittsburgh. please.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Mom and Dad, come over.
Yeah,
All right.
no more York.
We have a question of the day.
Where does everybody find you first?
Okay, so one of the things I think I'm lacking right now is the social media presence. That's something that, I'm a nerd, so that's not my thing. So while raising this money, I'm hoping to get a social media person on board. So you can follow the Trek Gum socials. I think everything is at Trek Gum.
Okay.
You'll find us there. But most of my story ends up on our website at trekgum.com, and then my personal account. But I've been feeling weird about adding strangers on there.
No,
so
don't
yeah,
worry
so,
about
so
that.
follow
Yeah.
follow the Trek
Follow
Gum
the
stuff,
Trek.
and I'll just start updating that. Like
And
I should
now
be
Rachel
doing.
gives a shameless plug to say,
Yes.
Sean, Rachel, and Colin actually do social media as our real job. So if you want to talk
And
afterwards,
in this corner,
we will be
Rachel
happy.
Runabout.
We will be happy to talk to you
Yeah.
about how we can help you. So please, let's
We would love
let
to
the
help you.
conversation continue.
We would love to
You're
help you
fabulous.
because you're very
I love
exciting.
it.
Yeah.
I love
Very
it,
cool.
guys.
All right, question of the day.
Yes, I'm ready.
What is worse, no fries on sandwiches or beer spillage?
Oh, beer spillage.
Yeah.
Beer spillage is the worst
that?
thing that could ever happen. One time I was drinking, my favorite pub in Pittsburgh is Fuel and Fuddle. They had a donut beer like 2 years ago. It was like a Dunkin' Donut blue beer. I took one sip and went and set my glass down, and I set it down wrong, and it shattered. And beer and glass went everywhere, and it was the saddest day
And then
of my
everybody's
life.
like, what the hell?
Yes.
Day of my
Yeah,
life,
so
she said.
beer spillage, 100% hands down, the worst thing that could happen.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Emily,
Yeah.
you're a pleasure. Thank you so
absolutely.
much for
Yeah, of
hanging
course,
out with
man.
us at
Thank you
Primanti.
so much.
Thank you for
We
having
really
me.
appreciate it.
Yes.
And
Now she gets to eat.
this sucks
I
because
know.
we all ate and
I
you
know.
didn't.
It's okay.
So
it's
you
it's
can
gonna
call
be a
us-
good room
She got a
temperature,
couple bites.
Sammy.
She got
You
a
can
bite
call
or
us
two.
Jagoff if you want.
Yeah.
So,
That's all
yeah.
good.
All right,
Awesome.
cool.
Thank you, guys.
Emily, thank you so much. So now a little bit
Ian?
more music. Yep. And a little bit more music from...
Jordan and Zach.
Is that all? Yeah. All right, cool. We'll edit there. All right. And Ian, ready. So Ian runs a nonprofit organization up in New Kent area, and we've been trying to have him on the podcast for a year and a half.
Okay.
He's doing a Christmas in July thing, and he's raised like tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh, that's
for
awesome.
Different child. Like they pick something each year.
That's cool.
So yeah.
What are you having?
I'll have a Yingling, please, if you don't mind.
Can I have a Tito's and soda water with lime, please?
Hang on, this is so everybody on video.
Heather.
This is Heather. Heather,
She's awesome.
Go ahead, just take that microphone real quick, Heather. Tell everybody they should come to the Allison Park Primanti's and find Heather in the corner, right?
Absolutely. It's what's going on here in the Berg. You know what I'm saying? We're out a little bit outside the Berg, but we're on the patio. The weather's beautiful. We've got a nice cross breeze. What else
I
did
think
you ask
Heather.
for?
Look at her.
I think she should answer your question of the day.
Oh, you want my question of the day?
Absolutely.
All right. I keep looking like I don't know what it is. What
Yeah,
is
you wrote
worse?
it.
Fries, taking fries off the Sammy, or beer spillage?
Ooh, that's hard.
It's a great question for a waitress here.
Yeah. No fries.
Okay,
or-
just being truthful to Primanti's, taking the fries off the sandwich.
You're the only one, sister. You are a company person. I'm impressed.
That's right.
That's a great question.
Come
That's a great
see
answer.
Heather. All right,
Thank
cool.
you, Heather.
Ian, do we have wipes if you want to wipe down the microphone for anything, or totally up to you?
Okay, you're fine.
All right, cool.
Tito's, please. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm drinking Tito's on a
All
beer
right,
podcast.
come on
just
in.
saying.
So, Ian, it's so great to have you on the podcast because what has it been like 2.5 years since we've been trying to have you on the podcast with
We
working with
finally
Bailey,
synced.
right?
It only took a
Yeah.
global pandemic to get us here.
That's exactly right. So the cool thing is not only are you on the YaJagoff podcast today, but you're on the Fueled by Hops podcast today.
Yep,
So you're
simulcast.
getting a double whammy.
We'll-
This is right.
We'll do the fist bump.
We're doing
While
fist bumps
eating.
because I have Primanti sandwich all over my hand.
Listen, I'm trying to watch my girlish figure right now. I'm going to go work out after we talk today, so
man.
it might weigh a little bit heavy. I don't know.
Then
Nice.
you get turkey. That was my answer.
So-
Okay,
you
yeah,
get
there you
turkey,
go.
and then you feel better about it.
So I'll let Rachel let me eat, so I'm going to let her eat. So, Ian, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for
finally,
having
right?
me.
We know you have you just did your Shamrock run at 5K a little bit ago, St. Patrick's Day,
Yep.
and we know you have Christmas in July coming up.
Yes,
but
sir.
tell us a little bit of the background of what is all of that for.
So, I'm president and founder of Semper Gratus. We're a 501c3 organization here based in Pittsburgh. I mean, the best way to summarize what we're doing, it's just a local do-good organization. We focus on pediatric patients afflicted with cancers, diseases, and other disabilities, and other just general acts of kindness. So that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
I understand it. But at the end of the day, the motivation is just trying to enrich others through action, right? I think seeing is believing. If you can go out and you can be the good, everybody can talk about being a good person, but if you're putting that into action and creating an atmosphere and a platform for people to see it, my hope is that they're taking it away and they're going out and paying it forward some other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so talk about some of the people that you've helped so far.
Yeah, so, what's interesting is
And I know we're not saying this in a pat yourself on the back way.
Not at all.
Talk about the success story.
Yeah.
Because we've seen, I'm looking at the numbers, huge increase even during a COVID year,
Yeah,
right?
we've been really fortunate. Exponential year-over-year increases and successes that we've experienced. And at the end of the day, what's interesting is we carry a message, and we support different families. But at the we partner with other nonprofit organizations and their causes. So in 6 years, we've supported the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. We've
That's awesome.
supported the Muscular Dystrophy Association, Cerebral Palsy, the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And, it's interesting to create a situation for people to come out and have fun, and that's one component of it. But you got to remind people why we're coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you have these guests of honor, and typically I do 2 events in the same day. So in the morning we have a patient family that speaks, and in the evening we have a different patient family that speaks. So it's driving home the purpose of why it comes together. And what's really cool is, pre-COVID we would have 600 people in a room for a dance party, and everybody's there, and they enter it with their cliques of people. a patient family shares their story, and then you can just see the room transform and the impact that it's having for helping people realize why we're really coming together.
Right.
And then it just encourages and moves people, and they're motivated to give. And that's what it's about.
Well, and you
at the
bring
end
up
of
a
the
good
day.
point, because COVID is still, we say all the time, we don't want to concentrate on it, but we also know it exists, and we have to be cognizant of it. But moving forward, I think it's difficult, especially for the nonprofits, to decide the dance, like, what do? Do you go back to the in-person?
Right.
But with you guys, you're doing a little bit of both, hybrid and in-person. Is that right?
Here in March, we started getting back at it with different events. We had virtual and in-person options for our Shamrock Shuffle. We had 317 people that were registered, 284 in person, raised about $15,000. Where a portion of the proceeds were for Leukemia Lymphoma Society. So we're taking that, moving it forward as COVID capacity restrictions are being changed, doing it again to the theme of Christmas in July. Santa shuffles in the morning, small town loud voice in the evening. I mean, all I want to do is create the opportunity to make a difference.
I love it.
And most people were afraid of Route 28. But let's talk about how easy it is to get. Now the 28's a big boy road.
Yeah.
A big, you can get easily because all of your events happen where?
West Leechburg.
Yeah.
Which is about 25, 30 minutes northeast of Pittsburgh.
I love when people are in the outskirts of Pittsburgh. They're like, we are right by it.
Yeah.
They're like, drive 25 minutes. You can do it, Pittsburghers.
Right.
Ryan,
It's
what
not
breweries?
hard.
Are there breweries up there? Up 28, like in a total
28,
Pittsburgh?
yeah. Then you have
Colony Creek Brewing.
What is it?
Colony Creek.
Oh, yeah, Conning Creek.
Yep.
Voodoo has like a little thing down there in New Ken.
Yep.
You have
Isn't there a
Blawnox is
House
blowing
of
up.
House of a Thousand Beers? No. House of
Yeah.
a Thousand Beers? Yeah. Is that
House of
there?
a Thousand Beers.
In
Yeah, it's in
New
New
Ken.
Ken. It's in
Yeah.
New Ken. That's correct.
Yep.
Boom, Rachel with the
Race
proximity.
did that, yeah.
Boom.
Boom,
Look at that,
bitches.
pulling it out of the back pocket
Yeah,
there.
right.
Jeez, super proud of you.
You have no idea how directionally challenged she is.
I
let
don't,
alone
but I picked up on it
location
immediately
challenge.
based on the
So
kudos
she
points we're
pounded
giving.
His reaction, right?
Yeah.
No, but so July 10th is the date that this
Yeah.
all unfolds,
Yep.
correct? Okay, cool. So you will have all details on the website for people
Yeah.
who want to partake.
Easiest
because-
website. I mean, Semper Gratus. Some people can butcher it. It's
Yeah,
Latin.
right.
That means always grateful. So at the end of the day, kind of the mantra that we're living. But KV Cares, short for Kiski Valley, right? KVCares.com. It's a redirect link. It'll take you to a landing page about all the info.
Smart.
In the morning, family friendly. You don't have to be a fitness buff to participate in the 5K or the 1 mile walk.
John, why is he telling us that?
I know, he looked right
Yeah,
at me.
because
my sandwich
He's
crumbs.
like, finish
It's
your
It's taken
sandwiches.
3 years to get you guys there. That's why.
Right,
Come
yeah.
on. Come
We're
on.
bringing Ryan
Yeah, we
with
really
us. Go,
do.
Ryan.
Oh,
go.
yeah. I mean, I'm definitely walking, but yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
That's
You don't even
always
have
my
to
thing.
walk. You could stand underneath the popcorn that we have coming from Pop.
I'll be the guy in the back. Sir, you're only 500 feet in.
Wait, is Scotcho
Ryan,
your
we will
partner?
wear our
Is he?
T-shirts,
He-
our
he's a little bit
Cheersians
more-
T-shirts.
Yeah, we'll wear a cheers.
Scotcho's like a fit guy, right? Isn't he like
He's
a
pretty
runner?
fit. Yeah, he's pretty into it, so he might do well. Not me though.
I'm hearing more reasons why you want to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I'll gladly come.
He's good.
I'll have the worst time, but it's all good.
Yeah. But listen, you're going to be able to get pictures with Santa. Santa's going to make an
I
appearance.
love that it's
Well,
July.
you didn't tell
Yes.
me that.
Right, come on.
You got
should've
Disney,
led with
you got
that.
Disney princesses that are going to be there too. Belle and
There
Snow
you
White.
go.
Thanks to Events Ever After.
Okay.
We got a balloon artist. We
Oh,
have
the balloon artist.
popcorn. We got Brody's lemonade stand. So
He
this is
knows
really
you.
cool.
He keeps throwing out popcorn.
I know, he knows
Yeah.
popcorn. Listen, Willie, Rachel's husband, will joke about how we eat popcorn because when we're done eating, the best popcorn is at Team Pittsburgh Deck Hockey in Brighton Heights.
Okay.
It is so good. And now I go down there and get it for dinner for $2. But we'll sit there and stand there, and Willie, her husband, will make fun of, like, you guys just ate popcorn, right? Because the bottom is
Hansel
like,
and Gretel.
it's like someone tried to feed the pigeons in
We're
Market Square.
following the trail behind
That's
you,
it.
right?
Hansel and Gretel from the YaJagoff podcast. That's
Right.
exactly it. Yeah. No, but you're doing great
Stains
things.
down your shirt. Yeah.
You're doing great things.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it because we do need to realize that COVID is a thing. It is happening, but we still have to support our nonprofits and
Yeah,
help
absolutely.
as much as we
And
can.
thank you so much for supporting us and what we do. And
So
our
what are we
going to
do on July 10th? We're going to come up and we're going
to walk
I'm going to
quickly.
wear my
We're gonna
sexy
walk the
Santa
podcast.
outfit.
Wearing our
You gotta do
Cheers
that.
Hands T-shirts. Yeah, we already
All
had
right.
this
You could wear
conversation.
your like tropical Hawaiian shirt,
All
shorts,
right.
flip flop, Santa beard, maybe that.
I like
Oh,
it.
hey, we'll put our YaJagoff beer in our water bottles.
There you
See,
go.
I like him now.
Yeah, right.
He
Yeah.
made one smart comment.
hydrated,
All right.
yeah.
He started off bad, right?
Stay
He
hydrated.
was not tracking.
Right,
Now he's
right.
good. He's
That's
good.
funny.
Listen, you could come in the morning. I always say you can earn the day, right? Come in the morning, earn the evening. Come back in the back in the evening.
That's very good.
You know, and you don't have to be a dancer to be there. Like there's all kind of side raffle games and everything else going on. We typically have well over 50 gift baskets, side raffle items, 50-50, opportunity to win money.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot that's
You
happening
throw
in
in
the
a
evening.
pop-up beer tent, and we got them.
Yeah,
there.
right, right.
Hey,
And
hey, why not do
know
that
some
right
people.
now?
we'll
make
sell it.
happen.
We'll sell it
North
to make
Country
money,
Brewing.
right? Well,
Yeah.
we'll sell it to make money, right? For the
There you
for the
go.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
do
and
it.
do that.
So and don't be a Jagoff, because if you're a Jagoff and you don't want to go out 28, you could spend the whole day there. So if you go,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I'm not going up there for whatever, for just 2
Wait, you
minutes.
don't
I
say
try
up
to-
there.
Right.
Who says up there in Pittsburgh, right?
Right.
Don't be him up there.
It's on air.
Right
Up there.
So you
Up
can
there.
spend the whole. If you're really gonna bitch and moan about going up 28, then you just spend the day while you're up there, right?
Listen, we have a partnership with the local hotel. It's about 10 minutes away. You can get
Sweet.
it for like $20 or $30 a night.
Oh, wow.
Listen,
That sounds like high
devil's in
school
the
days.
details.
That's
Devil's
it.
in the details. You got to be planner.
That's it. I
You
got it.
are.
There's no excuse to not be there and want to do good.
You're right, and we have to thank Bailey. Which, by the way, Bailey is related to me. But crazy enough, her aunt knows Rachel. So it's crazy how the whole and
Pittsburgh small, Leechburg small.
Yeah.
Just go out and be a good human at the end of the day. You never
We
know
love
who
it.
you're interviewing or interacting with, rather.
Ian, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
What is the website again?
So the easiest website to remember is KV Cares.
Yeah.
Short for Kiski Valley, kvcares.com.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
All right,
thank you.
so are you ready for the question of the day? Because Rachel's over there making time with Megan. Are you ready for the
What's
question
the
of the day?
question
or do you
of
want
the
me to
day?
do it?
Gotta look it up.
Question
Look it up.
today. I was actually helping a brother out and telling Meg that we're going to hook him up with
No,
a beer
that's
tent.
awesome. And
All right.
Ryan has some rapid fire thing we have to do after we have
Oh,
the band
shit.
on.
All right.
Question of the day. What do we
Question
got?
of the day. I keep reading it, Ryan. I don't know why. What's worse? Fries not on Sammy's or beer spillage?
Beer spillage.
Everyone keeps saying that.
Without you can't. That's a man down.
Yeah,
You can't do that.
He's
That's
the first
true.
person to use the phrase. Yeah,
That's a man down. You can't do that. That's leaving a soldier behind. Jeez,
story.
oh man.
All right.
Hey, thank you
Pleasure to
guys
have
again
you.
so
Come back
much. I
again.
appreciate
Thank you
it.
for patience in getting here, and we're so glad we
All
got
good
to meet
things
you.
come in time.
Well, we're so
Yeah.
glad. We will see
Appreciate
you July
you guys.
10th for sure. We'll
Right
figure
on.
that out. Yeah, cool. Awesome.
Here's what's really cool, though. The person, I forget, Margaret, who's over top of her,
Yeah.
I've done business with her
Oh
husband.
my God.
Oh, wow.
Like, the brewery that she's with, I'm like, wait a minute, Slipper Rock?
Yeah.
Okay.
How
They
cool.
want to have us up there to do a Semper Gratus event.
There you go.
That's super cool.
And it all
Very
happens
cool.
on the YaJagoff podcast. The
Yeah,
guy-
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jagoff.
a match made in heaven. Thank you, Ian. We appreciate it. Yeah. So just so you know, this is going to go up. Well, yeah, right. You got that. Okay, cool. Thank you. Tell Bailey we said thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you so much. Thank you.
Hi, guys.
All right, so now it's our turn to let Ryan eat because, so we're coming back from the music, and the music that you've been hearing throughout the podcast is an MP3 created by these two guys, and
Which I got wrong. I was like Jordan, Zach. Who are you?
Right,
Which one's which?
so here I'll do this here.
Oh, we got it. You're sitting over here? All right, cool. Hi, guys. Welcome.
Hello.
So, are you basically the product of COVID? Did you guys figure out, like, we can do this together, and this is the time to kind of really dig our heels in and figure out music as a duo?
There was a little bit of that. We actually we met right before COVID, probably like the August before in 2019.
Okay.
But that was just doing gigs and stuff locally. But then the idea for the business kind of came about during COVID. Kind of bring that all together. We decided to get a place together as roommates, work on how we could promote local Pittsburgh artists. And we offer recording for them and promoting them through websites and stuff. And so our love for local arts and music and the desire to work with people even in the midst of things
Smart.
being shut down kind of brought that idea
Fueled
to
it.
fruition. Yeah. Right.
I think just because we started during COVID, that kind of it allowed us to create the original business model to connect with that instead of like reeling when it happened and like totally changing our mindset.
Okay, so musicians by trade.
Right.
Figuring out that, oh crap, these guys are going to need some help when this is all sort of settling down. Right? Okay.
And actually, in a weird way, you kind of hate to say it, but like the whole pandemic with things being shut down did, to Zach's point, kind of clarify how we could be of use to people, whether, virtually. There's so much of what we can do recording-wise and building websites for people that we don't even have to be in the same room anymore. And I think unfortunately, it took a pandemic to kind of teach us all that there's so much we can all do separately, but be of service to people from anywhere, really, in any other city or anything we want to do. So
it's not just Pittsburgh acts, right? It could be Pittsburgh.
So far,
yes.
Okay.
But we're expanding, and I think with COVID, that kind of allowed that expansion because so many people it's so easy to work online with people that are in entirely different cities now.
Yeah. We made it easy to kind of break down all the barriers and just say whatever.
Yeah.
So what's the process? How does this work out? So you guys kind of say, here's who we are. We're musicians, so we get the trade, right? Because that's going to give a sense of relatability.
Exactly,
They're going to trust you because you understand it. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, which one's the guitar player? You.
That's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does that go like? You guys are just sitting down, kind of rehearsing, kind of jamming, whatever term you want to use as musicians, and then you say, oh boy, this thing hit. This is what we're going to do. What did the business model look like? Take us through that.
Well, we were both kind of doing what we're doing now for the business before we started doing it together, so that kind of made the transition really smooth. I got out of school and started producing for anybody that would let me record them and put out music with them. And he's been marketing for longer than I've been out of school. So we were both kind of doing it. And when we started playing together, we were like, well, this is perfect. Like, we should just do this together and be like a one-stop shop for all artists.
Because we noticed a lot of like even friends of ours in the music community, they've also offered like their own recording services or opened up a studio nearby. But we thought maybe what we could do to set ourselves apart is kind of do, like Zach said, a one-stop shop of, yes, he can do the recording side and the musicianship and the technical side, but then in addition to that, we can take that same client and I can help them out with building a website and a brand and apparel and logos and album art and things like that, and build their social media presence, where rather than having, make them have to shop around for all kinds of different services that might not be even that affordable for just, a starving artist, so to speak.
So it's not an agent, it's an awareness.
Right. So it's really, the essence of it is really helping local artists take their music to the next level in an affordable way. So, and that part of what we do is under the umbrella called Lifeside Studios, one word there. And that's, we combine our backgrounds, like Zach was saying, our talents and experiences to really be that one-stop shop for Pittsburgh artists, and really, like we said, with virtually, we can do that with people in other communities as well. So,
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So the deal is that you're musicians. Are you still playing actively?
Yes.
Okay.
We just had a back-to-back cover gig this weekend. In fact, Friday and Saturday. So
nice.
We're still doing.
It's amping up in the summer.
We still do covers, and that actually we were able to pick up in like July last year out of COVID, pretty early on, because there was such a desire, and I think there always will be for that live music
no
at
doubt.
restaurants and things like that. So. That we've still been lucky enough to get those every week, pretty much.
Do you guys drink beer while you're doing your thing?
I'm not a beer guy.
Not beer as much, but we do.
Fueled by hops, you okay with that? We got to turn them on.
They still have time.
Are we going to be canceled now?
No, you're good. No, you're good. No, but I do find it interesting that from a music standpoint, and I say this to every musician who comes on, I come from a musician's family, and I know that it's not an easy art, but I also think that it begs the question now, post-COVID, what are people doing when they were hiring duos and trios and solos, and now this 8-piece band comes in, and people go, can't do it. So I think you may have been ahead of the mark before realizing that it might be where they're headed.
Mm-hmm. That's the hope too. Is we've kind of learned without intending to market ourselves as a duo. There's so much versatility in the demand for a duo. I mean, anything from like corporate events and weddings to restaurants. It's a very versatile act, whereas like a full-piece band maybe not is as versatile in various markets. I mean, there's a huge need for them, but it's not as necessarily diverse of a market, particularly in the local scene. So that's sort of what helped us kind of collaborate too on our first original project that we just came out with, that we're excited about, and that just came out in May. But to really capitalize on that duo brand and kind of hope people jive with the duo.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. All right. Where's everybody find you? How do we follow you?
So for the studio services, if you're interested in checking those out, that's, again, Lifeside Studios, which is just lifesidestudios.com. We do a couple more cover gigs coming up in June. That's just Jordan and Zach. You can find that on Facebook or on my website, jordanschultzonline.com. And then our first original song we just came out with, we're planning on working on a full album version of originals, actually, and that's under a new duo name for originals called High Clear. Just the word high and the word clear is as one word. So, and the song itself is called Home, and it kind of has sort of a pop country vibe, which is so not the vibe that we would have guessed we would have released.
Kind of funny how that
particularly
came about.
as a first song, but we're hoping that it's going to be a very eclectic album, and that'll be one thing that hopefully will appeal to enough people that people will enjoy it.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, are you ready for the question of the day?
Sure.
All right.
I'm scared.
Yeah, you both have to. Wow, John just got
Ooh, but they're a duo. They're a duo.
This is serious. I see. Yeah.
We can't have a combined
No, you don't have time to talk.
Okay.
What's worse, no fries on sandwiches or beer spillage?
Or beer spillage?
Beer's sticky.
I think it's beer because that smell stays with you.
That's true. There you go.
Yeah.
They took it from the other way.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay.
All right.
Respect.
I mean, fries on a sandwich is a staple. That's tough to pass up.
Pittsburghers will not go away from that. That's so funny. Awesome. Thanks for coming on, guys. And we'll obviously have their song playing throughout the podcast, so we're excited to hear that as well.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I'll grab one of those from one of you guys. All right, Ryan. We've done our question of the day. We've done all the things we do. What on Fueled by Hops? You guys have a tradition of doing rapid fire.
It's the rapid fire round. Sometimes we call it something else, but it's always the rapid fire round.
Okay.
We never do well at rapid fires. Like we'll tell people we're doing rapid fires, and then they go, "That wasn't rapid fire."
So we have
it's never rapid fire for us either.
Yeah,
it's the rapid fire round that's never rapid
What's
fire.
funny is Paul Wahlberg make fun of us. He goes, "This is rapid fire because our questions were so slow."
You are Jagoff.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
So all right, do
ready.
it.
So my question to you:
Do we both answer?
No combined answers. You have to answer these separately.
We made those rules earlier.
You made those rules. The gavel was put down a few minutes ago.
All right.
So the YaJagoff podcast. Are you ready to enter the rapid fire round?
We accept the challenge.
We'll throw something in there.
Yeah,
Scott will do something in post.
Okay.
Question number 1. We'll start with the ladies. So Rachel.
Yeah.
What is your favorite Will Ferrell movie?
Oh my God, he's my He's my guy. Like if I don't have a husband, he's it. How about that? He's my freebie.
There we go.
He's your hall pass.
It might be. It's either Kicking and Screaming, Step Brothers, or Elf. I mean, I gotta go.
Okay.
I don't know. Willie, what's my favorite Will Ferrell? You got to answer quickly though.
Is she?
Kicking and Screaming, really?
Friend?
I did hate Step Brothers for a long time. I just
is
admitted.
She allowed to phone a friend?
Step Brothers is the pinnacle, and yes, I think she just did the first ever phone a friend.
Well, listen, Emily and Megan are super smart. They're over there. I'm going to use them.
Yeah.
All right.
But he's out now. He's out. You burnt that one.
All right.
Favorite Will Ferrell movie?
Oh, definitely Elf. Yeah.
I know.
Definitely Elf.
John's not a movie person.
Oh, no, but I love that movie.
Elf is good. Elf is respectable, but Step Brothers is the pinnacle of his career. It's the pinnacle.
Here's a good rapid question. Raise your hand if you never saw The Godfather. No one raises their... Oh, for crying out loud, Emily.
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
Wait, it's your rapid...
Oh, my God.
It's your rapid fire. Stick with that, because otherwise she's going to make me look awful.
Oh, my gosh. All right, we'll move on. Rachel, what is your favorite hangover cure?
Pedialyte.
Regular Pedialyte or off-brand Pedialyte? Because this is a debate.
Pedialyte. Regular. Because I worked at a pediatrician's office. That's the only thing that works.
Okay,
or
so
hair of the dog.
I have heard that Rite Aid's Pedialyte works better.
Oh.
But
Okay.
Just throwing it out there.
Or hair of the dog. Did you hear me?
Yeah, hair of the dog.
But I'm
I mean,
too old to do hair of the dog now.
Oh, yeah. Once you go past 35, the hair of the dog's out of the question. That's gone. John, favorite hangover cure?
Oh, it's IV fluids. I used to be a paramedic, and we used to start IV fluids on each other when we went into Saturday mornings to start our shift.
I can't wait for Scott to hear this episode.
Scott says this. Okay.
Okay, so you're trapped on a desert island. We normally do this with beer, but we're going to change this one up.
Okay.
Because we're at Primanti Brothers.
Okay.
So you're trapped on a desert island. You can eat one Pittsburgh food for the rest of your life. Rachel, which food is that?
I'm so bad at
It's
it.
not tied to any brand.
Yeah.
It's just a
Pittsburgh food.
Yes, a Pittsburgh. It could be a brand. It could not.
I don't love Pittsburgh food. I know I don't. It's so true, though, right?
Scott, please drop in a really big gasping sound effect right there. All right.
I don't know. I don't love Pittsburgh food. I don't. I mean, what do I love that's Pittsburgh? Like, I wouldn't say a pierogi. I wouldn't say Primanti.
Emily's over there. And you're not allowed to call Willie now.
Yeah, Willie's out. You phoned a friend over there.
Yeah.
I guess I would say anything from a Pittsburgh cookie table.
Ooh.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So this is a good point. We're going to interject right here. November 6th, 2021, we're putting on the Fueled by Hops Presents Drink the Cookie Table, our beer festival with iconic dessert brands here in Pittsburgh. We're bringing 16 breweries in, pairing them up with Sarah's Candies and all the other
dessert
you have
people.
To make sure you tell Tracy that.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
It is going to be,
We'll
it's
be
at
there.
Spirit, November 6th. Good, perfect point to drop.
Emily's bringing gum.
I love it.
Yes,
All
bring gum. Bring gum.
All
right, John.
One
Pittsburgh food for the rest of your life.
I'm trying to. It's either a pierogi, boiled, not fried, or strawberry Jello pretzel salad.
I knew that's what I was gonna say.
I could eat that any day.
We're trying to make that into a beer. When you guys said that, my eyes
That's
lit
what we
up.
were gonna
Strawberry
do.
Jello
Do it.
pretzel salad, I
We
think would be
it's
my
not
answer.
Gonna work.
Yeah.
If you do it, though, we'll taste it.
Okay.
I won't be that person.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Going into the tunnels, are you a Jagoff if you hit your brakes
Yes.
when entering
Yes.
the tunnel?
Oh, yeah.
That was a softball.
Yeah.
And you're getting a hand signal from me.
And John is the son of a bitch when he drives. I am not. Yeah. Just follow up with that.
All right, we'll wrap this one up with
Okay.
one final
All right.
question.
Okay.
And I don't have my questions running. I'm literally
Yeah,
these
you're
are off all the
totally
top
off
of my head
script, yeah.
right now. So this is totally off script because Scott normally has these all wrapped up. So I'm gonna say, what is your favorite Pittsburgh sports team?
Team.
Team. Sports team.
All right.
And why is it not the Pirates? No, just kidding.
Yeah, right. I mean, I would. The Penguins.
Penguins.
Yeah, Penguins. I'm a hockey dude all the way.
Yeah. See, Scott's the official DJ of the Penguins. Where's he
Yeah.
at, man?
See?
right.
Yeah.
Wiki, Scott.
Yeah. We're really good at
That's
wikis.
awesome. Ryan, is that it? Is that the
That's
end of
it.
the
That's
round?
the end of the rapid fire
he
round.
He was like, "Is that it?"
Yeah.
No, I just want to
Just
make
wrap
sure I
it
don't
up.
I
cut
would
you
answer
off.
more questions.
All right,
Yeah.
so we're going to wrap up. So you have to answer our question of the day.
Yeah, and you know how it's gone down.
But before
So-
we do that, where does everybody find all of your stuff?
You find us at www.fueledbyhops.com. That is the center point of the brand. You can find everything there, all of our communities, all of our blog stuff, all of our podcasts, links to everything there. Fueledbyhops.com. Go there and look around.
And for the Pittsburghers that are Pittsburgh, it's not Hops, HAWPS.
No, it's HOPS.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
What is your favorite beer?
My favorite beer? That's so hard to say.
Yeah. I mean, categorize them. That's fine.
I would say I have a favorite brewery in Pittsburgh.
What is it?
I'm proud to name it. It is Monday's Brewing in
Where's that?
McMurray. It's in McMurray. It's on Route 19.
Okay.
Traditional style beers. He makes beer that tastes like beer, and I love that. I mean, I love all the Pittsburgh breweries.
Sure.
But he's the little guy who just opened up, and he's making traditional beers, and I love what he's doing over there, so I go there at least twice a week.
Okay.
Are there too many breweries? Or are we good?
No,
Is it saturation yet?
It's not
He said
saturation.
the conversation
No.
continues, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. The pie is getting bigger in Pittsburgh.
right.
We have new drinkers
great.
coming in. They keep turning 21, and people are sticking with it. The pie is just getting bigger. I think there's actually plenty of room to go in Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
honestly.
Okay.
All right, question of the day. Fire
Question
it
of
off.
the day. I'll look at it, Ryan.
I think
just
I know
'cause
his
did it
answer
for
already,
everybody.
right?
What is worse, no fries on Sammy's or the beer spiller, chronic beer spiller?
See, I can go with the no fries on Sammy's.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't do the slaw on a Primanti sandwich,
Yeah.
you may as well not call it a Primanti sandwich. But I could do fries on the side. I'm going to say beer spillage.
Okay.
Definitely the
Nice.
worst.
What about you, Rach?
Good.
Beer Spillage for me.
I'm good with either. I can pivot.
Yeah.
I'll cope with either.
Nice. All right, so we have to thank a million thank yous. First, a big thank you to Heather here at Primanti's, and thank you
What
to
an
Jim
awesome job.
from
Yeah,
Primanti's.
seriously.
Yeah, and
awesome.
for having us tie up the table here today. Thanks to you and Scott for inviting us on your
Yeah,
podcast.
thank you so
Thanks for
much.
Scott for not coming.
Yeah, right.
He's texting me. He's at work. I understand.
And we have to thank Emily for coming on.
Yeah.
And thanks to Tracy for organizing all of this. And thanks, let's see, who else?
Colin.
Colin Parrish
thank you.
Yeah,
behind the
Ian
camera.
it was a great nonprofits. They're coming back, and
Yes.
we're glad to talk to him
Jordan
a little
and
bit about
Zach.
We're back, baby.
that. Jordan and Zach, yeah.
And thanks to Meg.
Thanks to
So,
Meg.
really, this is probably the first time we've had such smart people on the podcast together. Emily and Meg, they out really.
Oh, yeah.
We're being considered for Mensa after they've been on our podcast.
And as always, thanks to Rorick Honda. Summer 2021 is driving people to events and happenings, and Rorick Honda is part of that drive. From parking lot shows hosting comedy acts to a collab with Mancini's.
Rorick knows the importance of community fun. Congratulate them on a record month in May and browse their inventory in Bloomfield. As always, Rorick.com for all of your vehicle needs. Brian, do you have any sales pitch you have to do? You have a sponsor?
We do
November
not have a
6th.
sponsor, but I just want to come out and just officially apologize again to Primanti Brothers for stealing all of your hot sauce when I was a young, poor college student.
Right.
I love it.
I will return them if need be.
That's it.
love it.
Thanks, everybody.